Hello and welcome back to Alex FPL. Today we're doing a quick Game Week 2 preview and team selection video with information on deadline and fixtures, the goal and clean sheet odds, Game Week 2 captaincy picks, and finally finishing with my team selection going into Game Week 2. First up, as a reminder, this game week the deadline will not be on a Saturday like it normally would be. It's on a Friday at 6:30 p.m. So that's today, 6:30 p.m. UK time. So then moving on to the fixtures. Tonight we have West Ham versus Chelsea. Then on Saturday we have 5 fixtures. On Sunday we have 3 fixtures. And finally we have the Monday night fixture, which is the final one of the game week 2. And that's Newcastle at home facing Liverpool. Now moving swiftly on to the goal and clean sheet odds for game week 2. This data has been sourced from Rob T FPL. He does really great work taking the betting odds from the bookies and adjusting them for FPL. The reason why I like using this data so much is that these betting companies have huge teams of analysts who are going through each game week and analyzing which teams are most likely to score and which teams are most likely to keep a clean sheet. Now, if we can rely on that huge, vast amount of research and use it for our FPL purposes, this gives us a really important edge in our decision making. In every final video that I upload before the game week deadline, I will be covering this data. So make sure to like and subscribe if you find it useful. I typically use this data to help me decide who I'm going to bench and who I'm going to start. So let's say you have a centre-back from West Ham or Tottenham, but you also have a centre-back from Burnley. Clearly, Burnley is the centre-back you should choose because they have a 32% chance of keeping a clean sheet versus West Ham's 14% or Tottenham's 10%. So the decisions when it comes to clean sheet likelihood is quite straightforward when it comes to centre-backs. It's not as straightforward when we talk about fullbacks, because obviously they have the ability to get up the pitch, to provide assists, and to score goals. There are some rare exceptions where the centre-back has a higher expected goal involvement than the fullbacks. Examples of these kinds of centre-backs would include Gabriel, Milenkovic, Ballard, but apart from these few examples, normally you would try and back the fullback versus the centre-back. Now moving on to my recommended captaincy picks. If you have Haaland, I'd say he's a 5 out of 5 captaincy pick this week. Then followed by Salah and Saka at 4 out of 5 stars each. Finally, finishing with Palmer, who's facing West Ham. He's on 3 stars out of 5. Now moving on to the Game Week 2 team selection. So starting with Sanchez in goal, who's facing West Ham away. He had a really good first game week. I have no reason to sub him out. Of course, Dubravka also has a very good fixture against Sunderland at home. I could play Dubravka, but I'm already playing Esteve, so I don't want to double up on a defense. If I had Cucurella instead of Esteve and I was doubling up on Chelsea, I'd probably go Dubravka instead of Sanchez just to spread my odds a little bit more. Then we have Porro, who's playing City away. Not the best fixture, but Porro could give us some goal involvements if he plays as a fifth midfielder in Frank's 3-4-3 or 3-5-2. We've seen Frank set up with this formation before, including Spurs playing in the Super Cup before the season started. Finally on Porro, he's on some set pieces and some corners, which also adds to his appeal. Then we have Nico Williams facing Palace away. This fixture about a week ago would have looked a lot worse, but with Eze just being announced as a new signing for Arsenal, that weakens Palace just a little bit. So let's see what happens. Then, as I said, I'm going with Esteve, who's playing at home to Sunderland. And now moving into the midfield, we have Salah, who I've captained. He's playing Newcastle away. Then we have Palmer, who's my vice captain. Now, I wasn't best pleased with Palmer's position on the field. If he continues playing in that deeper role instead of being on the wing, we might have to consider moving him out. Then we have Bruno Fernandes, who's facing Fulham away. Obviously, there wasn't much of an opportunity to analyse Bruno Fernandes in his first fixture against Arsenal because it's such a tough fixture facing the best defence in the league last season. So let's see if we can look at better signs from Fernandes in his game week 2 fixture against Fulham away. Then we have Wirtz facing Newcastle away. He's a real class player, but let's see how long he takes to adapt to the Premier League. Finally, the most transferred in player this game week, Rangers facing Tottenham at home. I'm really glad I have him in my squad, so I don't have to worry about price rises or anything like that. Then we have Watkins facing Brentford away. Now, Aston Villa didn't look great in front of goal in their first game week, so let's hope they can improve on that. Final player in my starting 11 is Strand Larsen facing Bournemouth. Now, obviously, Strand Larsen's first fixture wasn't great against City, but he did look really, really good. So let's see what he can do against the Bournemouth defence that got gutted over the summer. And then finally, onto my very weak bench, we have Goodmanson, who's facing Arsenal away. Terrible fixture, but he's basically the only player I have from the outfield players that will see some minutes because Guyu, I'm not guaranteed to start. and Konza is disqualified for 1 week. So as you might have noticed, I'm rolling my transfer into next game week. I'd like to get some more data and some more insights from game week 2 before I start making transfers. Okay, so that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be bringing you one of these videos before every game week deadline just to give you a bit of a summary into the data, into what I'm thinking. If you find it useful, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.